There is no way that this is a real story. It's just way too crazy. Well, it's that time again where I need to react to yet another sketchy hearing aid story, this one out of Birmingham, Michigan, which is a northern suburb of Detroit, where the Local 4 news team is investigating a hearing aid dealer for allegedly ripping off a 99-year-old woman who lives in a senior living facility. Now, you may have seen my last reaction video where Channel 7 News out of Illinois investigated Miracle Ear. If you haven't yet seen that video, I will go ahead and put that video down in the description if you want to check it out as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this story.
Birmingham woman is sounding the alarm tonight about a local hearing aid provider. She says she went to buy a pair of aids and ended up losing over $1,300, and she still doesn't have the hearing aids.
She reached out to Local 4's Kyla Russell for help, and tonight AARP tells the woman they are replacing the hearing aids, but the woman doesn't want this to happen to anyone else, understandably so. Kyla is live for us tonight with more. Kyla?
Yeah, hey there. AARP not only telling her they're going to help replace those hearing aids, but also telling me they're going to remove that provider from their network as a result of this story. Listen here for the moment the family found out after I reached out to AARP.
Apparently you called AARP, and the next Friday I get a phone call. So I call back and they said, well, you're going to get a pair of hearing aids.
That's Paulette Seaton, sitting next to her mother-in-law, 99-year-old Dolly Seaton. But before I got involved and tried to help them, they spent almost 6 months trying to get answers. Let me take you back to December and the start of their hunt for hearing aids.
So I started looking for mobile providers.
They looked to AARP's United Healthcare Hearing. Their list of providers included a man named William Robinson with Robinson Hearing Centers. They got in touch with him. He came to Dolly's senior living facility.
Okay, so first red flag here. If you're going through like AARP or United Healthcare Hearing to find a provider, I mean, you don't really know what you're getting. I mean, why would you trust an insurance company to give you a referral? I mean, wouldn't you want to go to like another trusted healthcare professional to get a referral? And even if you do, you need to do your own due diligence. You can't just trust whoever you're going to, and that includes coming to my clinic. You shouldn't just trust that because I have this online reputation that you should come to me. You should go to my website, you should look at my reviews, and you should do your due diligence. Now, do I expect a 99-year-old woman to do due diligence like that? Not really, but it appears as though she had her daughter-in-law helping her with this. And I mean, I grew up in a small town of Morris, Illinois, and I think that people just like inherently trust business owners in these small towns. I don't know how big or how small Birmingham is, but I think that potentially led to this occurring. Now, I think a lot of people are gonna kind of knock them for going with a mobile service, but I don't particularly view a mobile service as being illegitimate. I think that they definitely serve a purpose. It really comes down to if the mobile service company is a reputable one. Of course, I don't believe that there are as many mobile clinics out there, so your options are limited, but if you can find a mobile clinic that follows comprehensive audiologic best practices, I say go with it. But apparently in this particular case, it didn't work out so well.
He was supposed to be selling us an AARP package, and he appealed to her saying, well, I can give you much better quality, way less expensive.
Dolly agreed to go the private pay direction and signed this check for Robinson for $1,300.
Okay, so I happen to think that that's a red flag too. If an insurance company refers you to an in-network provider or someone who's in their discount network, and that provider is convincing you to pay privately outside of that, that's just a red flag. Now, I know that some providers think that it's ethical to do and other providers think that it's not ethical to do. I'll let you be the decider of that one. But the reason why a lot of clinics will do this is because they can actually make more money if they sell you hearing aids privately rather than taking just the fitting fee that they get when you go through the insurance. But if you're referred by your insurance company to an in-network provider, your spidey senses should be going off if they're trying to convince you to go out of network. Now, if you choose to find a different provider because you don't think that any of the in-network options are viable or are very good, then you can go out of network and just pay whatever the private pay rate is. What I'm specifically talking about is if someone is actually in network with the insurance, but they're encouraging you to go out of network so they can make more money. I should also mention that, $1,360 for a pair of prescription hearing aids is extremely cheap. In fact, it's so low cost for private pay prescription hearing aids that I would seriously question the quality of those devices and, more importantly, the quality of care that you receive with those devices from the provider. I literally don't think that I can even get hearing aids for that low of a cost and dispense them to a patient at that price without losing money. But who knows, maybe these mobile clinics can operate on razor-thin margins and make it work. That's outside of my area of expertise.
The hearing aids came about a month later. Everything seemed fine until Paulette got a message on February 12th.
And they said, no, we have to do this upgrade because the hearing aids may not function properly.
They
Like
say
a
he
firmware?
told them the aids would be returned in 2 to 3 days. Reluctantly, Dolly and Paulette agreed. They came and picked up the hearing aids on the 15th.
That's got to be my third red flag here, because it sounds like they needed to do a firmware update on the hearing aids. Now, that's a legitimate thing. I mean, these hearing aids nowadays typically require firmware updates, I don't know, on average about every 6 months or so. And maybe like within a month after she got these hearing aids, this firmware update came out. But if you don't do a firmware update, it doesn't really lead to many issues with the hearing aids. It just doesn't unlock certain features. It may fix a few bugs, but it would never be to the point where the hearing aid just stops working. But these firmware updates take, 3 to 5 minutes at the most for most of these updates. They could just bring their laptop computer with them, hook up the hearing aids, knock out that firmware update, and you're done, making someone who's 99 years old with a hearing loss have to go even 2 to 3 days without that treatment after they've gotten used to the treatment, in my opinion, is unacceptable. But this is where it gets really interesting. So these hearing aids are likely still within a return period for the hearing care professional, meaning they could take these hearing aids, send them back to the manufacturer for a refund. Now, given that this individual paid with check, that check has definitely cleared at this point, which means that the provider can get their money back from the manufacturer, and if they don't give the money back to the patient, then they basically get to pocket 100% of the money. Things are getting kind of sketchy here, as you can see.
Then came months of back and forth. Paulette reached out time and time again, asking.
All right, let me read some of these. So, good morning. When should I tell Dolly her hearing aids will be returned? No response. Hi, Bill. Left you a voice message. I'm at Dolly's until 4 p.m. What time will you be here? No response. I'm at Dolly's. Staff and Dolly keep asking for the hearing aids. Any chance you'll be by today or tomorrow? Still no response. And we're going all the way to March 2nd here. Good morning, Bill. Are you back in town? Inquiring when you or a family member will be able to return Dolly's hearing aids to her. You've had a long couple of weeks with family affairs. I hope the Lord has given you peace in your heart. I will say the daughter-in-law here is being very nice and cordial with these responses, considering that they were told it was going to be 2 or 3 days without the hearing aids, and it's been several weeks without the hearing aids. Now, things can happen. There can be issues and, health issues, things like that. But I mean, pick up the phone and call them and give them an explanation for what's going on. And ultimately, at the end of the day, maybe ship them the hearing aids or mail them the hearing aids if you can't physically drop them off yourself. If I ever had a provider or front office staff member who delayed getting a patient back their hearing aids like this and didn't communicate what the really good excuse that they would have to have is, I would let them go. There's no way they'd be able to continue on in my clinic. I don't even like taking hearing aids back from a patient when we need to repair them without putting the patient in a pair of loaner devices, let alone make that patient go weeks or even months in this case without hearing treatment. All right, so what does this say, this last text here? I'm not sure what your last message means. You picked up the aids to update the software a month ago. They are already paid for. Your daughter was doing the update in your office. So apparently this guy, Bill, was messaging back and forth to some capacity, or maybe messaging with his daughter or something like that. But at the end of the day, it just seems like everything's getting kind of weird.
At one point, he gave them a day he'd return them in person. Paulette says he never showed.
And here we go. Again, you did not show up. It's been almost 2 months. You spoke about your mother. How would you feel if someone did this to her? Your failure to return the aids has caused everyone anxiety, but especially 99-year-old Dolly. Anxiety is a nice way of putting it. This is an absolute disaster. Now, at this point, so it's been 2 months. So it's March 28th, Saturday, March 28th. 28th, these hearing aids, or rather the payment for the hearing aids, even if it was done on a credit card where you can dispute a charge, that timeline would have passed already anyway. You know, I hate to say it, like I love when patients pay with check inside of my office because I don't have to pay credit card processing fees, but at the end of the day, paying with a credit card kind of protects you. So if you get a provider giving you the runaround and you're inside of that 2-month window where you can dispute a charge, it kind of gives you a little bit of security there. Gosh, I can't believe that I'm supporting the use of credit cards. Dave Ramsey would kill me. Now, I should also mention here that this kind of is a risk with going with a mobile clinic because you can't just go and like drive to the clinic. The clinic is mobile. You have no idea where it's at. Although now that I say that, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Evergreen Hearing Centers or something like that left a negative review on my clinic website, gave like a 1-star review and said that we're a horrible clinic or something like that. And then that clinic ended up shutting down. So I don't know, maybe the guy who owned that clinic was going through some stuff. Basically, people who had purchased hearing aids from that particular clinic, and if they didn't have possession of those hearing aids yet, they're basically out of their money and they can't get their hearing aids back because the doors are just boarded up. So I guess it goes right back to whether it's a mobile clinic or an actual physical clinic that you can go to, it just has to do with whether or not that clinic is credible. Honestly, it's just really sad at this point. They've got to feel incredibly hopeless, and I just feel really bad for Dolly at this point.
I received a text from him that he said, I'm changing my business model. If you wish to add $1,000 to the purchase price, we can accommodate, or $1,500 for a 5-year service guarantee. Otherwise, we will refund $1,300 within 30 days.
Paulette responded within minutes.
Immediately, please refund.
It's the start of July and they say they've gotten no refund.
No freaking kidding, you don't have a refund. Like, honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of surprised that they're even going back and forth anymore. I cannot believe it. I can't believe that the guy is actually asking for more money. No freaking way. So this is actually fairly common with scammers. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going on here. Maybe this is a misunderstanding. Who freaking knows? I mean, there's too much stuff going on here for this to be a scam, right? I mean, right? But anyway, this is something that scammers will do. They'll essentially kind of get you locked in to the scam. You've invested some amount of money and you view that as a sunk cost. Like you have that money invested. You don't want to give up because you already have some money invested in the thing, right? So if the way that you can get that investment back out is to pay them a little bit more money so you can get your original investment back out, you might be willing to do that. And I have to imagine that if they would have sent this guy more money, and first of all, like how the heck, $1,500 to cover 5 years of care? That is almost like nothing. Basically, I think the guy's just hoping that the 99-year-old is not going to live that 5 years. Who the hell would offer a 5-year service plan to someone who's 99 years old? They really need to cut their losses here. Please tell me that they're not going to keep going round and round with this guy.
At one point, he threatened to sue them.
We received no letters, no refund, no anything.
No way. This guy's like, I'm going to sue you. What is he going to sue him for? Harassment to try to get the thing that they purchased from him back? That is unbelievable. This guy's good. He's really good.
See, the first message I sent to Robinson here, it was Thursday, June 25th at 10:29 a.m., specifically asking if he was going to refund Dolly that money or return the hearing aids. Also asking for any additional context and giving him multiple ways to reach me via text or via email.
Okay, hold on. This is this guy, Bill, I guess. As a primer, I took a few minutes to read the PDF. You have no story as of now. Seems to be a slot filler. You are lacking a tremendous amount of fact, okay? And so she responds with, hi, I'd love to include whatever information and context in the story that you would like us to include. As I said, my deadline is Sunday at 12 p.m. Please send the information here or via my email at her email address. Thank you. He responds back with, as I said, I'm out of town. Be back next week. As I said, you have no story, much less facts. Proceed if you like or wait for the facts. I'm engaged as you are. Your sudden arbitrary deadline is not my problem. I've asked counsel to contact Channel 4 News. If you choose to ignore waiting a few days for the other side, your choice. 160,000 plus patients in a career and not a blemish with all senior patients is a record not to be blemished. Few facts make fuller pockets. See you in a week. What is this guy saying? Dude, if this guy's been around for that long to treat that many patients, honestly, I'm impressed. That's a lot of patients to treat. Maybe he's legit, I don't know. So she responded to that. Our deadlines require us to give 24 hours for a response. We'll look out for an email from your counsel. Thank you. First of all, anyone who says, like, I'm gonna have my counsel reach out to you, I mean, come on now, my counsel. Anyway, okay, so this is Bill. On break, caught your note. You get a story idea, give no notice except a 24-hour window, and everyone jumps to your timetable and your broadcast story. One-sided story without due diligence. OMG, I working hours upon hours out of town. I have not the time to give till I return. You are not the government to make demands and publish a half-true story with no substantiated something. I can't read the very end of that. But what the heck? If a reporter's trying to make a story that's like a negative story against me, I'm freaking like stopping literally whatever I'm doing, and I'm calling that person to clear up everything and to give them my side of the story, right? Like, the fact that he would just give the runaround to the reporter as well is just pure gold at this point.
My texts include frustration with the story, but no answers on if he plans to return the money or the aid.
All right, 6:30, second message returned this week. We'll address your half story. Please respond. And then she says, hi there, we plan to run this story this coming weekend. As I've said, please send whatever response you'd like, included either here or via my email. It seems like he's back. Why isn't he responding?
Meanwhile, Dolly is grateful AARP is stepping in, but there's one thing she still wants.
I'd like to get the money back. I need it, don't I?
That seemed kind of weird, right? I don't know if you guys are picking this up, but I mean, that's really the only thing that she said in this entire thing. And I just got a strong hit of possible dementia there. Basically saying that she wants her money back, but she's not sure if she needs her money. That just seems like someone who might have dementia. And let's be honest, I mean, age 99, I mean, I think that cognitively everyone's gonna have some level of decline there, whether they have dementia or not. But it just kind of comes across as someone that I think anyone would view as an easy, person to take advantage of. I mean, someone who pays with either cash or check, someone who probably wouldn't know the proper course of action to try to resolve an issue like this. Thank goodness she has family who can help to look out for her a little bit, even though, I mean, there's probably things the family members could have done better as well, but I mean, can't we all do better sometimes? I mean, I can't really knock them for being taken advantage of by somebody else, allegedly.
Now, I want to read you part of the statement from AARP or United Healthcare Hearing. They tell me customer care is our top priority. We hold our network of providers.
Hold on. Wait. AARP and or United Healthcare said customer care is our top priority. Let me just read this for you here. We hold our network of providers to the highest standards to support patient care and quality outcomes, and we regret the inconvenience and frustration this situation caused. Now, they probably do regret the inconvenience and frustration here, but I would highly doubt that they're holding these providers to the quote-unquote highest standard. The highest standard is the best practice standard, and I doubt that these providers that are a part of this discount network are providing consistent best practice care. In fact, I would even argue, I would love to see proof of this, if they have any amount of proof or verification or validation that their providers are even providing the minimum standard of care. Like, I just can't believe that. Like, my opinion is that there's no freaking way that these clinics or clinicians are upholding the highest standards, let alone they're ensuring that they're holding these highest standards. There is no freaking way that United Healthcare or AARP are putting any effort into that. So I find that to just be ridiculous at best, but I'll let her carry on.
We were deeply disappointed a provider failed to deliver on our customer promise, and we are in the process of removing that provider from our network.
Well, thank goodness, at least they're giving this person the boot, because even if this individual's side of the story would have cleared things up, the individual has to give them a side of the story. Like, you can't just go and be like, well, people are attacking me and that's just unfair and you're only running one side of the story. Well, that's fine. So give us the other side of the freaking story at this point. Like, I really don't understand what the issue is here. if this provider is actually doing things legitimately, which I mean, you guys can formulate your own opinion on whether or not they're being deceitful. And you tell me if out of 160,000 individuals that this has never happened before. I don't know. It's one of those things like in politics where when one person comes out saying something negative about that someone did years ago, all of a sudden a bunch of people come out. We'll see if that happens in this particular case. But I do have to give kudos to AARP and United Healthcare Hearing, I guess, because even though they're the ones who actually referred Dolly to this particular provider who was in their network that they say that they vetted and they know follows the best standards of care and all of that mumbo jumbo, at least they're picking up the tab here and sending her actual hearing aids. So hopefully as of right now of me recording this, Dolly has those hearing aids inside of her ears and she's doing great. At the end of the day, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you feel like something fishy is going on, chances are there's something fishy going on. And a provider should be overly communicative if there's an actual issue that they're running into. Like if they lost Dolly's hearing aids or something in the middle of the update, or if someone stole the hearing aids out of their car when they stopped at the grocery store on their way back to the office. Like at least communicate that with Dolly so she knows what's going on, and then give her a timeline of when they can actually expect to have these devices back. Don't just ghost people. If nothing else, it's incredibly sketchy. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I mean, let's be honest. Nobody is going to file a lawsuit against this particular provider for just over $1,300. It would be a total waste of time and money. Maybe not a waste of time, but it would be a waste of money. But I think that providers know this. Like if you're gonna rip someone off for, a couple hundred to a couple $1,000, they're not really gonna go through the proper recourse to get their money back. The only recourse they really have is basically posting a negative Google review, which actually holds a lot of weight. So they should absolutely go on and leave a review of their experience. They can give it as many stars as they want to, I don't care, but you have to at least share your story, because it's no longer about you, it's about everybody else who also has hearing loss that could be negatively affected by this particular provider. But I think I've carried on way too long with this video already, guys, but if you like this, make sure that you hit the like button. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel and you want to see other videos just like this one, make sure that you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on, and I'll see you next time.